Making other people score and have to try to beat you has not worked the last few possessions for the Nuggets. Shamet!
Welcome to a Valley Sports Plug Phoenix Suns playoff recap for Round 2, Game 4. I'm Chris Patrick, and with me is my man Michael Benjamin, here to break it all down for you. So let's go ahead and take a look at how Game 4 went down for the Phoenix Suns against the Denver Nuggets here at home. As we continue to see in this series, the offense for both teams came out firing in this one. The Nuggets held a narrow lead at the end of the first, 34-32. In the second, we saw both teams continue to battle, and the Suns held again a narrow lead at the break, 63-61. Really back and forth in this one. The offensive display continued into the third, both teams scoring over 30 points in the quarter, and the Suns were able to hold on to the lead, the score 98-92 going into the fourth. Neither team giving an inch, but with a few clutch shots and some big stops at the end of the quarter, the Suns were able to hold on and win this one 129-124, tying the series at 2 games apiece. So now we'll go ahead and pass it over to Michael Benjamin for an in-depth look at Game 4.
We're back in the Valley of the Sun and another labeled must-win. And we start off with 3 consecutive DeAndre Ayton offensive rebounds on the very first possession of the game. But the Nuggets, they go on a 12-3 run to take an early 9-point lead. We got stuck in some isolation with no movement and watching on the defensive end as well. But the Suns bench, they get us rolling early, and the Suns climb out of an early hole and find themselves only down by 2 after the first. And to start the second, the Suns themselves go on a 10-2 run. And Suns owner Matt Ishbia makes his first appearance of the series while Josh Okogie battles for a loose ball, which ended up in his hands. Nikola Jokic tries to strip it, but Ishbia wasn't having it. And Jokic gives him a nice little forearm with a little bit of a flop from Ishbia. But after the storm calmed down, there was a solid finish to the quarter, including a big Kevin Durant block on Aaron Gordon, and the Suns take a 2-point lead into halftime. And to start the second half, it was offensive mastery on both sides for the Phoenix Suns and the Denver Nuggets. Nikola Jokic with 19 in the quarter, but Devin Booker not far behind, matching him with 17 of his own. And the Suns shoot 78% in the quarter to take a 6-point lead into the final stand. And for quarter 4, yes, we'll go ahead and label it the Landry Shamet Experience with 4 3-pointers in the quarter, 20 points total from the bench. And closing out from the free throw line, the Phoenix Suns win Game 4 by 5 to even up this series 2-2, heading to Denver for a very, very pivotal Game 5. And with that being said, Chris, yeah, we know what time it is. It's time for the 3 keys of the game. So I'm going to pass it over to you so you can let us know what's number 1.
Coming at you with our first key of the game has to be the presence of mind of the Phoenix Suns. Really playing with poise in this one and understanding the moment. This one was also a must win. We have to win our games at home, especially not having home court advantage throughout this one. It's a series now, a 3-game series, if you will. We have to steal one in Denver to be able to win this series. They say it's not really a series until someone wins on the road, and that's going to hold true. So reiterating, it was a must win to win both of these games at home, and the Suns players lived up to the moment. But really, overall, the composure of these guys hitting shots when they needed to. I mean, even Terrence Ross coming in, not scared to pull up from the 3-point line. Guys pulling shots with confidence and really playing with that confidence throughout. I love to see it, and it gives me a lot of optimism going forward.
Presence of mind in protecting home court. I mean, you can just listen to the post-game interviews from Devin Booker in these past 2 games, and the first thing that comes out of his mouth is protecting home court. Understanding this was a must-win game, and the Suns handled business in the categories that were crucial to get them these wins. They out-rebound the Nuggets 37-32, 12-10 on the offensive boards. From the free throw line, they stayed aggressive. they outshoot them 29-23 and make 7 more than the Nuggets. We started letting it go early and often from the three-point line as well, shooting 13 of 29 for 45%, making 6 more threes than the Denver Nuggets. And what we've seen since Chris Paul has gone down was the general pace and pushing of the basketball from this team with 20 fast break points. And it's going to be crucial for this Suns team to continue to factor in those different categories and keep that presence of mind going. So with that being said, Chris, what's number 2? What do you got?
Our second key of the game was the bench production. Tonight, they continue to be a factor in this series. Monty Williams has seemed to figure out what rotation he wants to use against this Denver Nuggets team. And apparently that doesn't include Bismack Biyombo or Torrey Craig. Not to knock those guys, but when you have Jock Landale playing hard, he had 8 points and some big defensive stops, you have to stick with the hot hand. Terrence Ross, again, letting it rip. And he's kind of taken Torrey Craig's spot, in my opinion, where we had even had Torrey Craig in the starting lineup, now being replaced by Josh Okogie. I mean, I was just thinking about this earlier, Mike. If you think about the beginning of the season or even before the season when we got Josh Okogie, if you had told me that he'd be a crucial part of this team, let alone a starter in a playoff game, I don't know if I would have believed you, but he's been playing big and living up to the moment. Our bench had 40 points tonight, absolutely massive, whether it's Tony Warren playing big on defense or, like we said, Landry Shamet hitting those big 3-pointers in the fourth. This game could have gone a totally different direction.
And you see what has happened in this series comparative to the first 2 games in Denver and to what happened in Phoenix. These stars are starting to cancel themselves out, so it's going to come down to what the other guys give you in regards to production. And it's on both ends, like we said last time, on the offensive end as well as the defensive end, and continuing to keep that pressure up. I mean, the elephant in the room here, folks, it's not just us. A lot of people have been very critical about Landry Shamet, and we were waiting for some kind of contribution to basically match the amount of minutes that he was getting, and he finally stepped up to the plate, and I'm okay putting my hand up and saying he shut me up. That's what I want from my team, and that's what I want from these guys because we hold them to a high standard. But 19 points, 5 from 8 from 3, it was just incredible, and it almost brought a tear to my eye. I'm sure, Chris, you could say that you were close to that as well. But if you look at the plus minus for this entire team in this game, you can go down the list from this bench. Warren, Landale, Shamet, and Ross, all of them in the pluses, plus 8, 16, 15, and 9 respectively. You look at that starting lineup, a couple of them were in the negatives. So for the Phoenix Suns bench, the numbers obviously backed up their incredible performance tonight, and they did what they had to do to help out our number 3 key of the game. So, Chris, I'll just pass it right over to you. Let us know what it is.
It goes without saying, the star power of Kevin Durant and Devin Booker cannot be overstated, and therefore the star power is our third key of this game. Kevin Durant and Booker putting the entire team on their shoulders. In the last 2 games, they've made 158 of our 250 points. That is just absolutely mind-blowing to me. Booker shooting 79% over the last 2 games, and I know we said it in the last recap. Can he continue to do this? Is it sustainable? I don't know, but I am here for the show. I'm here for the ride. Devin Booker is securing his superstar status in this league. Win or lose throughout this playoff stretch, I think he is only garnering more respect from the league as a whole. And people are starting to take notice. They're starting to double team him. I mean, we saw there at the end of the third, him going ISO, coming off the high screen, getting double teamed, and still knocking down the 3. Mike, you said that was a heat check when we were talking off camera, and I couldn't agree more. Booker is on fire, and he's not afraid to check it.
The showings have just been incredible. 14 of 18. I didn't know if you could match 20 of 25, but that's pretty damn close if you ask me. And Kevin Durant finally came back to form from the field, shooting 11 of 19. And they both give you 36 points. But it's not just scoring. I mean, these guys do it all. If you look at the stats here, KD has 11 rebounds, 6 assists, and is crucial on the defensive end with 2 steals and a block as well. Devin Booker has stepped into that role with Chris Paul being out as a facilitator, has 12 assists, and rebounds the ball as well for himself at a good clip, 6 rebounds. We said it last time. If this team is going to win, they're probably going to damn near need 80 plus points from these two on a night in, night out basis. But the other guys have to step up, and we saw it happen tonight. You have to give credit to the Denver Nuggets big two as well. I mean, Nikola Jokic had an all-time night, 53 points in the second half. Every single time he touched the ball, it was in. And he was going to work and finding his spots. It was ridiculous. And Jamal Murray had a better shooting night, but he did chip in 28 points and 7 assists as well. But when it came down to it, when Nikola Jokic needed to make a play, TJ Warren had a nice little tip on that ball at the end, and he missed what was a crucial one. But this was a dogfight, man. And like we've said, this is going to be a dogfight of a series. And with that being said, Chris, we tied it up. Let's go to Denver, man. This is going to be a hell of a finish to this series, but I want to pass it over to you for your final thoughts on this Game 4 victory.
Just an absolute dogfight. And carrying over on our third key of the game, the star power. You mentioned Nikola Jokic, 53 points in this game. Denver is really going to lean on him heavy going forward to try and will the Nuggets to continue on in this series. And I just hope that the Suns can carry their momentum into Tuesday and steal one on the road, because if we can win on Tuesday, then come back and win Game 6 at home, that would be optimal, because the last thing I want to see is a Game 7 in Denver if we continue this back and forth where teams are only winning at home. The way Durant and Booker have been playing cannot be spoken to enough. They've just absolutely been dominating. Even for all of Kevin Durant's shooting struggles in the last game, he continues to attack the basket and continues to get calls. For once in what seems like forever, the Suns shot more free throws collectively than the other team. So I want to see the aggressiveness continue. And I'll say it just like I did in the last recap. I'm very optimistic for the future and what this team can do.
This is going to be the biggest test of the season for this Phoenix Suns team. Obviously, going to Denver with the altitude on short rest, we're going to see what this team is really made of. And it's incredible to see them protect home court, but we got to scratch out one of these wins. And I'd prefer it to be Game 5 instead of maybe stretching into a Game 7 and having to win on the road there. But I'm just very, very happy and impressed with the improvements and the adjustments that this team has made, not only from losing Chris Paul after Game 2, but these other guys from the bench stepping up and our stars continuing to just play at an insane level. So, Chris, I mean, I'm looking at my watch here. We only have to wait one day, but I can't wait.
We'll all be on the edge of our seats waiting for this next game. And as we say, the Suns will have just one day off before Game 5 this Tuesday, May 9th. Of course, we'll be sure to bring you a recap of that one the day after, as we have been. So make sure you tune in, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you can stay up to date on all the Valley Sports action. But for Michael Benjamin, I'm Chris Patrick, and we'll see you next time. Peace.